Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. I am Shelly B, a conservative Black sister surviving in a hot mess world, and a hot mess it is indeed. I haven't come on here in a few days because it's just a lot going on, and it's even too much going on to even talk about it because I feel like everybody's talking about the same things, and to me, I feel like this one subject I've spoke about so many times, more times than any other topic, and that is fear. So, through watching all of the debacles and foolishness that's going on in the media surrounding President Trump and surrounding the Democratic Party and all their shenanigans, to me, it just really boils down to fear. How Democrats are behaving is all based on fear. How a lot of liberals are behaving is all based on fear. I had a discussion with someone and they were just telling me about all of these things that they fear is going to happen with this president. And I'm just like, everybody's so afraid of things that they're just making up that they think is going to happen. And I really just keep coming on here all the time with ways for people to combat fear, because I feel like that is the main thing that gets in the way of people elevating their frequency is fear. So before we get into this discussion, I am Shelly B. Like, share, and subscribe. Pretty please. Just subscribe to the channel, whether you like it or not. Just do me that solid. Just subscribe to the channel, please. Like the video, share it, please, if it's a help to you or you feel that anybody can benefit from it. And with that being said, let's move on. So, like I said, to me, I feel like most of the problems that we have in the world, most of the problems that you're going to have in your life is based on fear a lot of the times, because anxiety is based on worrying about the future too much. Depression is based on worrying about the past too much. And I feel like, you can't even have a discussion today with certain people without them like lashing out. Like, for example, I was having a discussion with somebody and they were like, "Oh, this president, this bad thing's gonna happen, and oh, if they get rid of the border, this thing is gonna happen, and this person's gonna suffer, and this is gonna be bad." And I'm just like, but how do you know that it's gonna be bad? Because it hasn't happened yet, and he's only been in there for not even 2 months, right? And like, you guys are anticipating all these negative things to happen. And there's nothing I hate more than like negative ass person that's like trying to project their fears onto you. And then when you don't accept those fears, it's like they become triggered and angry because you're not in a state of fear that they're in. So I just want to quickly share some things. I have so many videos about fear because like I said, I feel like that's like the main problem and the main thing getting in the way of people elevating is that they're afraid or they're living in the past too much and they can't let go of the past. Like, I feel like a lot of liberals, and look at how the Democratic Party's acting, I feel like they cannot let go of the past. It's over. And like, maybe you could look to the future and think what you could do better, you know what I mean? Or in this moment, what you could do better. But I don't understand where it's going. They have a 21% approval rating, and I'm like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And, I feel like if you're going to keep on saying all the things that's going to go wrong, it will probably go wrong for you. But for me and for millions of other people, we don't see it that way. We see that everything is going to be fine. And like, in my opinion, I feel like I'm going to be abundant no matter who is on office. I haven't had as many hardships in my life as I did during, Biden's term. That was the worst time of my life. You know what I mean? But I never thought that I deserved to suffer, and I didn't suffer. So let me put my earpiece on. I'm going to show you guys a couple little videos that hopefully they're inspiring to you. I always try to, share with you some things that I see that I feel like were inspiring to me and could be helpful to you. Let me share my screen. Okay, what am I doing here? Here we go. Everything's all discombobulated. Okay. It seems like they changed up some things. Okay, let me just do this. Let me see. Nope, that's not it. Oh, I hate when they make changes. Change is not good. Share screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see. Let's start here. Okay. Now, this is a hold on, guys. Okay, so this is a Shaolin master, and I've watched him many times. I forget his name. All of the links to any of the videos I show you at any given time are always going to be in the description on my YouTube channel. But I've watched like many videos by this Shaolin master, but this is just a short one because it just gets to the point because it's very plain and simple and cut and dry what fear is. So let's listen.
If you don't have leverage in the beginning, which you don't. If you don't have leverage in the beginning, which you...
Oh, I got to go back this way. Sorry, y'all.
They stay inside the fear becomes more.
Let me start it from the beginning.
They stay
That's the
inside
thing
the
about
fear.
lives,
The
y'all.
fear
You know what
becomes
I'm
more.
saying.
The
Hold on,
powerful fear becomes even stronger.
Let me try to start this
blocks
over from the
people
beginning.
in doing anything. Stay inside the fear becomes more. The powerful fear becomes even stronger, even blocks people in doing anything. The fear, it's a construct of the mind. Your fear that a car is going to hit you tomorrow. Yeah, hello. We are not tomorrow. We are here right now. Why you think?
That is so important. He's saying, why are you going to think about tomorrow? This is the main thing with fear that, and I can't say it enough times, that fear is something that you make up in your mind that's going to happen that in the future that hasn't happened yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's saying, why are you worried about what's going to happen tomorrow? You're in today. You're not enjoying your life if you're always living in the past or you're thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow or something that you fear is going to happen tomorrow. Like, enjoy your life right now because 9 times out of 10, nothing is going to happen.
About tomorrow, the car could hit you. Who says it's going to happen? And where is the evidence it's going to happen?
There you go. Because I had to tell my friend, where is the evidence of all of these things that you say bad are going to happen because Trump is in office? Where is the evidence? Because so far he's done everything he said he's going to do and nothing bad has happened yet. Maybe nothing else bad will happen. Maybe everything will be fine and maybe the tariffs will work, which they are working because a lot of companies are going to put their factories here. So, you know, I just feel like if people would just live in the moment and worry about the problems that they have in this moment, which you probably don't have any because you're just sitting here watching this video, it doesn't make any sense to worry about these things. It's just like your mind is, you know, churning out these scenarios that are not real.
They stay inside the fear becomes more. The powerful fear becomes even stronger, even blocks people in doing anything. The fear.
Exactly. The fear is blocking a lot of liberals from moving on, from the past. They're not in power anymore. They have a 21% approval rating. Majority of the people think that the president is doing a good job. The ratings keep going up for him, and it is what it is. Now you have to be in reality, which is the present moment, okay? And think about what's happening right now. You know what I mean? And just worry about that, you know, because a lot of the things that you think about all the time, you're going to manifest to happen into your life. If you don't want these bad things to happen, then you have to, you know, change your thinking and change your affirmations to, instead of like, oh, this is going to go wrong, this is going to go wrong, focus more on what's going to go right. I tell y'all this all the time. You know what I mean? And I just feel like this country is in such a state of fear. I'm not even going to say the country, just a portion of the country. And you're making it very unbearable for the rest of us that don't think that way. It's like every time you turn on the news and you see these people complaining, protesting, complaining. This is the president. You're not going to do anything. You're not even in the majority anymore. I mean, it's just like, let it go. Stay in the moment. And in this moment, your party is a failure. You understand? So in this moment, maybe you could think about what you could do to make it better. Or in this moment, maybe you could do something positive with your time instead of thinking about all the things that could go wrong. You know, like I said, think about what can go right.
Fear, it's a construct of the mind. Your fear that a car is going to hit you tomorrow. Yeah, hello. We are not tomorrow. We are here right now. Why you think about tomorrow? The car could hit you.
That's right. We are not in tomorrow.
It's going to happen, and where is the evidence it's going to happen? They stay inside the fear.
So,
the fear becomes more.
I just wanted to start there so everybody can get an idea. Hi, how are you? Dave Tao, how are you? So, I mean, I really want everybody to just really understand this. Fear is made up in your mind. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. It's nothing to fear. You know, you can make up a million scenarios in your mind of something that's going to happen, but I guarantee you that is a lot of the things that you fear in life are never going to happen to you. They're really not. And if they do, it's probably because you manifested it on your life because you're constantly, giving your energy to that thought. I never feel that I'm going to suffer, and I don't suffer. And it's all how you perceive things. You understand? Yeah, the Democratic Party, they failed, but no empire lasts forever. You have to just look at everything positively. No empire lasts forever. Everything comes to an end. And listen, change is good, and sometimes, like, if in order to change, sometimes it might be a little painful. And I just think of having children in that way of like, yeah, it's very painful, but look at this lovely thing you get at the end. And it's a lot of, uphill battles when you're a parent and a lot of things, but you have this wonderful person that you raise, and hopefully they go out into the world and do something great. All empires rise and fall, Dave Tao says. Exactly. And the level of fear, like I look at some of these liberal newscasters, and they're just so full of fear. And I'm telling you, when Democrats were in office, conservatives did not act like that. I never seen them like be panic stricken, really, and they always try to say January 6th, but the truth is that, the police, the Capitol Police, incited that. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much with it that we just don't know. And they locked up, I think, 5,000 people. The only reason why they locked them people up is to make a example out of those people that you better not uprise, because this is what we're going to do. You better not, go against our narratives, or this was going to happen to you. But it didn't work, because those people are fearless. That's why they're fearless, and I'm sorry, y'all. Like, you have to stop being like this. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's like, I feel like the main thing that gets in people's way from being successful in life is fear of things that you're making up in your mind that are probably never even going to happen. They're not even going to happen. All right, so let's take a look at this next one. Let's take a look at this next one, because I try to show y'all things that can inspire you, because, and you got to come off mainstream media really, because, I feel like they constantly are giving you guys a narrative to make you afraid. Like, I just happen to be watching it today because I watch all of the sides of an argument, because I just want to see what everybody's saying, but I just can't really watch liberal media, but for so long. But they just always try to have you in a state of fear of like, oh, this bad thing's going to happen. And, oh, because of this policy, you're going to die. And, oh, this, to me, they did the same exact thing with COVID. And I thought that everybody would have learned from COVID not to trust the mainstream media, because they're going to keep you in a state of fear for no reason. And we find out at the end, it wasn't no reason for us to really be afraid, and that they kind of like over exaggerated, and that most people would get COVID and recover. And, maybe the vaccines now, we're realizing that they didn't really work the way they should have worked. And even people had gotten injured. So you cannot run with somebody else's fear. You're allowing the media to put fear in your heart just to paralyze you from, enjoying your life. Because it seems like you look at some of these leftist politicians, and they're just angry all the time. They're angry all the time. Look how they carried on in Congress the other night with the president. I mean, to me, it's like, what is that? To me, they're acting out of fear because they're in fear of losing their positions. You understand? They're fighting and scratching like hell to keep that position that they're in. They're fighting and scratching like hell for you not to find out the truth about who they really are. That is what that is. It's all based in fear, and they're projecting it onto y'all, and then y'all projecting it onto your family, and then you trying to project it onto me, but I'm going to cut you off right there because I had to tell this person, everything you're saying is not proven. It hasn't happened yet, and you don't have no idea, and you're just regurgitating what you heard on the mainstream media, and it's bullshit. It's really bullshit. Okay, so anyway, let's watch this one.
Are your thoughts always galloping around? Do you ever wish your mind could rein in those horses?
Now, this is a video on overthinking. Okay, now I feel like this is very important because people give their thoughts, they give the wrong thoughts too much attention. So I want to put this in here too, to kind of, because this goes together with fear, because you get the fear and then you're going to dwell on it and dwell on it and dwell on it. Hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. He's evil. This bad thing is going to happen. This bad thing. You're overthinking. Okay. You're overthinking. You think one man is going to stop you from living your best life only if you allow it to. You know what I'm saying? As much as I hated Biden and the whole Democratic Party for the last 4 years, I never thought that they could get in the way of my happiness or do anything to stop me from doing anything I had to do. You understand? Even though I feel like they were actively destroying this country, you know, but I didn't fear that any of those things would affect me. I mean, a lot of people were affected by it, but you know, I wasn't. Praise God.
There are decisions in life that require extensive deliberation and thought, such as moving to a different country or accepting a life-changing job. Despite this line of logic, everyone has suffered bouts of overthinking. The only difference is that some eventually come up with a decision, while chronic overthinkers are plagued with questions and doubt.
Now, see, this is what I'm saying. The overthinking goes with the fear part. You understand? You're afraid and you're just going to dwell on the fear. And you're never, ever thinking of anything positive. You're never, ever thinking of any way to solve the problem. This is why Democrats are having the problem that they're having, because they're fear, hate, fear, hate. This person's bad. Everybody's bad. Hate, fear. Instead of actually sitting there, listening to the American people and giving the solution to the problems that they're asking for. And you would think after losing the election by such a large margin that they would stop doing that, but they're still doing it.
You rehash previous conversations, relive past events, and imagine catastrophic outcomes.
Imagining catastrophic outcomes. You're afraid and you're overthinking the catastrophic thing that's going to happen. They think, you know, we're going to go into World War III. Oh, you know, we're all going to die because of, you know, the Medicaid is going to be canceled. Oh, all of the kids that with the IEPs they're not going to learn anything, and then the school system's going to suck. No. If you're in reality, in the moment right now, the school system sucks now. So how do you know that they won't be better? You are overthinking the negative thoughts. If you're going to overthink, at least overthink on some positive shit.
If you are an overthinker, your mind can feel like a never-ending movie of horrible possibilities.
There you go. Overthinking. This bad thing's going to happen. This bad thing's going to happen. Oh, you know, this president's terrible. You know, he's a convicted felon. The whole nation's going to go to hell. We're all going to die. We're all going to pay more for our supplies. This, that, and the third. All day long. I hear it all around me. It's like, to me, if you have and I can't even say a nation of people, you only have a small percentage of people that actually think like this, but it's highly annoying. Just know you're annoying the shit out of people when you're doing that. Nobody wants to hear your negative bullshit all day long. Trust me, they don't want to hear it, you know, especially even if they agree with you. Nobody wants to just hear that negative shit all the time. If you don't have a solution to the problem, shut your ass up.
This is debilitating in more ways than one. Not only does it exhaust you mentally and produce anxiety, along with many other health issues.
Anxiety. What I tell you, anxiety is fear of what's going to happen in the future. Depression is dwelling on the past and worrying about shit that already happened already. I feel like right now, a lot of liberals, they are in that state of mind, and it's not good for your mental health. You need to stop. You need to think about positive things that you can do to better your life in this moment. Forget about the past. It's never going back to the Democrat Party. It's never going back to the way it was. They've been exposed too much. Too many Native Americans don't really like them, and they're just never going to be back in office. I don't think they'll ever be back in office for quite some time. They have a lot of work to do. Anxiety is worrying about the future. Just stay in the moment. Right now, everything is fine in this moment, okay? When World War II comes, then you can be afraid. But even then, just because, you know, there's a war don't mean that you're going to be affected by it or be hurt by it. Listen. This is something that we really have to work on if we're going to elevate our frequency. Okay. You can't be afraid. I tell people attack me all the time on social media, but I know it's just out of them being afraid. And I tell them, stop being afraid. What are you afraid of? You know, nothing's happening. You're warming your house on Facebook. You're warming your house on Instagram or whatever. People don't really attack me like that on Instagram. It's mostly Facebook for some reason. And that's very weird. I'm not going to say weird. It just shows the difference of people between sites, but the people on Facebook are very fearful, a lot of them, very combative, very nasty, you know, very angry, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't really understand the vibe, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like if you want to elevate your frequency and you want a better life, and you really got to practice not being afraid of everything.
But it also prevents you from moving forward. So here are 10 ways to stop overthinking. Number 1, become aware. Is running a negative mental commentary second nature to you?
There we go. We work with people all the time. And the only thing come out their mouth is, oh, this bad thing. Oh, Trump this, Trump that. When you turn on the news and listen to liberals, it's Trump, 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 Trump. I feel like they talked about him so much that they really elevated him into the position that he's in. You understand? Because if they didn't talk about him so much, he wouldn't be on anybody's mind in that moment, but they just never let it ride. They never let it ride. Hi, Nicole. Nicole says the media used fear to get us to do whatever they wanted us to do during COVID years. I agree. I thought I was losing my mind, so I left the country for 4 years. Good for you. That's when I learned about the fear and propaganda used by the media to control Americans. I'm so happy I snapped out of it. Thanks for covering this topic. Girl, let me tell you something. I'm glad that you figured it out. You understand? And that's the truth, because I tell people all the time to watch foreign media, because if you watch foreign media sometimes, you will see sometimes what they're reporting from America is truer than the information that we get right here, you know. And I was just listening to the Italian president talk, and she was saying pretty much the same thing about, like, you know, the globalists, the elite groups of people that, you know, rule the world and everything. And even the Europeans are getting tired of European Union and Ukraine and fighting for all these things that don't have nothing to do with their little nation or whatever. Everybody wants to be peaceful except a small group of people that want to control everybody else, you know? And fear, like Nicole is saying, fear really does cause people to do dumb shit. Don't be a person like this. Do not fall for this. I'm telling you, you have to be very mindful and really think in a moment about what you're saying, and try to keep the what you talk about and the things that you say to other people positive. You know, try to think of solutions to problems and not just the problem all the time.
If so, it's a habit that you might not be aware of. So the first step to tackling overthinking is to become aware of it. Grounding yourself in your body is a great way to gain awareness. A popular grounding exercise is the 4-7-8 breathing technique, which involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 7 seconds.
And some people need to practice this technique before they talk at all, because a lot of the times, if you take a little second to breathe and think for a second, you're not going to say this dumbass shit that you end up saying.
And letting it go slowly for 8 seconds. Other techniques are touching an item and really feeling its material, weight, and temperature, and putting your hands in water. Becoming self-aware is the first step to changing your mind. Number 2, focus on productive problem solving. Do you get wrapped up in the possibilities of what could happen? Do you busy yourself with solutions?
Just the next time you listen to liberal media, just listen. They're just telling you the problem, the problem, the problem, the problem. Hate, hate, hate. The problem, the problem. But they will never, ever have a solution to the problem. This is why they lost, and they continue. They will keep getting voted out of office because they don't ever sit there and think like, hey, instead of just sitting here saying how bad Trump is, why don't I show how great I am? Maybe that would have helped. But I guess they don't have any greatness, or they don't see themselves as great, and they're just focusing on all of these problems that really are not problems. Like they kept focusing on him being a convicted felon and he did this and he did that. While they were focused on that, the rest of America was like, well, who cares? You have to have some discernment.
Solutions for a problem you have not yet encountered, or perhaps might not encounter. This type of thought pattern is an example of unproductive thinking. Some examples of unproductive thinking are
unproductive thinking, unproductive actions. All of those things, y'all need to stop doing it. Stop it. And just all of these little things they're telling you is great and everything, but just stop it. If you know when you're complaining, if what you're saying is not a solution to a problem, you probably should just forget it. Just be quiet.
If I do this, then this, usually something negative, will happen. Or why does this always happen to me? Unproductive thinking usually starts with fear. Hence,
there we go. Now we're back to the fear again. The overthinking people that have all these negative thoughts all the time is because they're full of fear. Now, when you see people like this, y'all, you should feel sorry for them because they're afraid of their own shadow, their fear. I always tell when people attack me, I'm always like, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid? Why are you so angry? And what do you fear that's going to happen? Because in this moment that you're in is the only reality, and you're perfectly fine. And you're thinking of something that could happen years down the line that may or may not even happen. It's like you're living in a false reality when you're in fear. I'm telling you, it's like it's a mental illness almost.
Transforms into a loop of negative thoughts that serve to instill doubt. When something goes wrong, instead of wondering why, ask how.
Thank you. The Democrats blame Donald Trump for everything. I never seen somebody be a scapegoat so much. They blame him for everything. Anything that happens, they find a way to blame him. And it's so incredible to me. And they never look at themselves and think, maybe if we would have did this, that, and that instead, or, maybe we picked the wrong candidate, or maybe we should have listened better, but everything is his fault. It's just illogical to me. That's why I said it's like almost like a mental disorder for somebody to be in that magnitude of fear and overthinking.
Asking how shifts your focus on what can be done now and helps you be more productive.
Exactly. The thing you're worried about, can you do anything about it right now? Because if you can't, then you need to shut up about it and just enjoy the moment that you're in. You're going to make your life very miserable and unhappy, and you're going to make everybody around you unhappy with your negative thoughts all the time.
It changes your perspective and helps you focus on what can be done. Number 3, schedule some self-reflection time. Sitting in a stew of your own problems is not productive. It is time-consuming and never yields positive results. However, making time to reflect can help you see and think about things from a different perspective. It affords you time to assess pitfalls in your plans and how you can do better.
Exactly. Now, if Democrats would have took time like that, maybe they could have figured out where they went wrong, but they didn't. And they're still not doing it. They're still not doing it. And every time you turn on the TV, they're trying to put people in a constant state of fear and negativity. You guys have to wake up to this. It's crazy. And I really thought with COVID, everybody would have saw that. And they're like right back where you started. The liberals are right back where they started. They completely digress right back into that, but over a different issue.
It also serves as a mental boundary. If something goes wrong, your instinct may be to run through and see where you failed. However, having a set time to go through and assess what went wrong prevents you from making hasty decisions. Number 4, change lanes. Did you know sometimes your brain practices reverse psychology on you? The more you tell yourself not to do something, the more you might find yourself doing it. The same goes for overthinking. Whenever you find yourself overthinking, it's always a good thing to try and get out of your head. It surely can be a scary place sometimes. By distracting yourself with, for example, a hobby or exercise, it'll not only make you feel happy.
Sometimes just being quiet will do it, because I'm in all kinds of circles all the time where I feel like I'm the odd man out as far as, me with my conservative values, and I'm around like a bunch of liberal people all the time, and they speak so negatively and it's very nasty sometimes, in my opinion. And I feel like I just said, let me not even worry about what they're saying, and just, I'm not going to overthink this conversation and get all mixed up and entangled in their negativity and their fear and everything. I'm just not going to say anything. So when you feel like you're about to spew like negative thoughts on people and just like hatred on somebody, just don't do it. How about just having control over your own self and don't do it? Because most of the time, nobody really cares. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll defend myself if I feel like somebody's coming at me really crazy. But a lot of the times I hear so many discussions and I just don't even interject. I refocus my attention. I'm always writing or doing something else or whatever. And I just, it's not worth fighting for. I don't see why, because somebody don't agree with you, you want to come on and just attack them and call them names and everything, all based on stuff that you're saying that is not even true, that has not happened yet. You understand? And even if it did happen, if you don't have a solution to the problem, what are you talking about it for? It is just useless, like they said, useless, mindless shit.
Doing something you enjoy, but it will put a stop to that stream of negative thoughts. Number 5, look.
Sikander is saying media is designed to perpetuate fear and uncertainty to influence people's behavior in a bid to control the masses. Yes, it is. That's why they call it programming. That's exactly why. That's why I come on here, try to deprogram, because I see how y'all are. I stopped using Facebook for years, for like almost 10 years at one time, because I just felt like the people, I forget even what was the political issue at that time that everybody was attacking me for, that I didn't agree. Then same thing like with COVID, I started using it a little bit more during COVID, but I just feel like it's a very liberal site, and the people are just so emotional and they're so anxious and so living anxiously about what's the future is going to hold, when it really doesn't matter, because what's important to you is the moment you're in. If you're worrying about the future all the time, you're not enjoying the moment you're in. How are you enjoying your family or anything if you're constantly worried about something that's going to happen down the line that we don't even know what's going to happen? That's a waste of your energy to me. That is such a waste of your energy. You have to find better ways to utilize your energy.
At the big picture. Are you focusing too much on something that isn't even going to matter in a few days' time? Whenever you find yourself overthinking about something, ask yourself this: will it matter 5 years from now? Will it matter a month from now? The chances are that it won't. Life is always changing. Asking yourself.
There you go. Life is always changing. You can't think that the Democratic Party is going to be in office forever. Sometimes Republicans win, sometimes Democrats win. You never know. Anything can happen. It's an election. You never know what can happen. You're going to dwell on this for the next 4 years about what happened in the past. You know what I mean? You're going to be scared every day about the future. It's you're not doing any service to yourself or your mental health to be like this. I'm telling you, you have to stop it. And probably a good way to stop is stop listening to mainstream media, because they just are there to fear you, like Sikander is saying, into behaviors that, can keep you in control, and get you to do what they want to do. They got millions of people to take an experimental medical product out of being afraid. If they can do that, they can do anything. They got millions of people thinking that this war in Ukraine is not, based in greed of, the EU and, NATO trying to steal resources and collapse nations, because that's what they do. That's what they've always done. Some people know that and some people do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some people know that and some don't, clearly. You understand? They'll argue you down about how great Ukraine is, but they ain't never talked to nobody from over there. They ain't never talked to nobody that has people over there that say they can't stand that president and that they don't want to fight the war and they wish that it would end. But y'all want to give y'all money to something like that because of fear. They have y'all afraid of Russia. They've been messing with Russia forever. You know, they keep trying to put troops close to Russia and he attacks them because he doesn't want them coming in trying to infiltrate on his country. You understand? Hey, listen, you guys are worried about a world war. It hasn't happened yet. When it happens, then we'll worry about that. I don't think that that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen because I feel like most of the nations will drop out of NATO before that happens because even the European countries is getting sick of NATO's bullshit. A lot of countries are like, we ain't sending our soldiers over there and we don't want to give you any more money either. You know, I feel like NATO's just going to fall apart. And without America, Europe and NATO doesn't really have a leg to stand on, and a lot of the other countries are tired of them bullying them and telling them how they got spending money, and everybody's putting money into NATO, and these globalists are getting rich off of all these nations. And really, what are they getting in return? Nothing. And then they think that we're going to send our people over there to die. You know, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, we should not even be worried about these things. You know what I'm saying? If you just stay in the moment and stop living in fear, you will not give a shit about half of these issues. I'm telling you. And you will think more rationally when you're not afraid. Because when you're fearful, you're not thinking rationally.
Such questions helps put things into perspective and gives you a new approach. Number 6, learn mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Does it feel like you run on autopilot? When you spend most of the time racing in your brain, it leaves you feeling less aware.
There you go. Because most of these people, everything they say to me, it just sounds like a parrot repeating off of what they heard on the media. You understand? And I know that's where they got that from. It's the same narrative over and over and over. It's like brainwashing. They tell you something over and over and you just regurgitate. You're just spitting up the same thing that you just heard on CNN or MSNBC or whatever, you know, for a whole 4 years. You know what I'm saying? You just have to really take time, maybe take a break from media of all kinds, you know, or maybe just watch the news in another country. You know what I mean? Or maybe instead of just being so one-track minded, maybe actually listen to a conservative news or talk to a conservative person. Like my thing is, like I was telling one of these girls always attacking me on here, have you ever went and talked to anybody? Because you're on here, like, you know, regurgitating things you hear on mainstream media, but have you ever talked to somebody? I'm always like, get out and talk to somebody. Talk to people, you know, that have a different opinion from yours and actually really listen to what they're saying. I have heard the liberal narrative for 4 freaking years and I'll listen. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as you don't agree, they're mad. Ooh, you don't agree with me, and you know this. You're evil. You're bad. Trump's bad. Trump's bad. This, that. You're gonna world war, like with the vaccine. You're gonna cause everybody to die. Da, da, da. They had you thinking out of fear, and when you're out of fear, when you're acting out of fear, you're just crazy. You're just crazy and you're not in your right mind. It's almost like your body is like, your mind is like in a state of mental illness when it's afraid. You don't have any control when you get too fearful. You know what I mean?
Your surroundings take a back seat when your thoughts ride shotgun. Achieving mindfulness does not occur overnight. It requires practice. There are many books, apps, and courses and other resources that can help you become more mindful. Practicing mindfulness is a great way to ground yourself in the present.
Yeah, ground yourself in the present. That's my point. Stay in the present. Stop repeating what you heard on mainstream media, your news 2 hours ago or last night, because I'm telling you, it's bullshit. Paul Mark says, have you tried microdosing? It involves taking natural substances like mushrooms, not to trip, but to help improve mental health, self-esteem, and also give relief from issues like BPD, panic attacks, chronic pains, bipolar, autoimmune disease, different disorders, and blah, blah, blah. And there's a link in there if any of you guys are interested in this. No, I never tried any of those things. And I used to smoke weed and I kind of got tired of that. Like, I don't know about self-medicating, but it may work for some people, but I'm just an advocate of being, Tony Stark, you have to be in control of your body and your mind. You understand? You need to be the Iron Man. Like, you're inside the suit. You're inside the body, controlling the body. You're in control of the thought. And you don't just run with any thought. You just don't run with any thought. You understand? You're in control. You tell your arms and legs to move. You're in control of the vessel. You're not being mindless. Everything you do has a thought behind it. If you stay in the moment, you will be in control of your body. You understand? You will be in control of your thoughts. It's like they're saying, when you're mindless and you're overthinking, you're not taking the time to be in control. You understand? And being in control of your thought, that you're like, the thought is controlling you. You understand? And you're not really in control at all of your mind. So I had to learn that. You understand? And every thought that comes in your mind, you ain't got to run with it. You understand? It's just for that moment. And in the next moment, the thought is gone if you don't give life to it and you don't ride with it.
You will be fully attending to what's happening, to what you're doing, to the space you're moving through. By practicing mindfulness over time, you will notice that you overthink a bit less. Number 7, do away with perfectionism. Perfectionism can be a sign of lingering fears, and it often
That is true. My art teacher in high school told me that being a perfectionist is the worst thing for artists because it doesn't exist. So again, they're right. It comes from fear of like, oh, this thing is wrong. I got to fix this. It's not perfect. I could do this better or whatever. And, I had to get over that, you know what I mean? Because imperfect things are very beautiful, and no one is perfect. I always tell my son, when he does a spelling test, okay, well, one is still good. If you get one wrong, that's still good because nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like sometimes in society, we really put a lot of pressure on people to be perfect. And then, it's like it's an illusion. It's all this perfection because, most of them have a filter. Half of the people are on Ozempics and stuff like that. Everybody puts pictures up smiling like they're having this great life, but everybody's going through struggle. It's all a facade. You stay in the moment and be in control of your vessel and be mindful of your thoughts. Every time a thought comes into your mind, you ain't got to run with it. You can just discard it and stay in the moment. It takes a lot of practice, but it can be done.
Often leads to overthinking. You become perceptive of your actions and how others might perceive them. Perfectionism narrows the scope of your actions, your thoughts, and your future. It renders you unproductive and incapable of moving past.
Yes, it does render you unproductive when you're overthinking and trying to be a perfectionist because you're spending too much time on one thing. I've had people that I work with say, Shelly, it's good, move on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's unproductive to keep overthinking something and staying stuck. And this is what I'm feeling like what's happening with liberals. They're stuck. You guys have to come out of that and stay in the moment and move forward one moment at a time.
Past your problems or failures. When you find yourself wanting to be perfect and start to overthink things, remind yourself that done is better than perfect. Number 8, accept your best. Are you always pushing yourself to cover that extra mile? Do you ever give yourself a break? Practicing compassion helps you move past your mistakes.
There you go. Compassion. Can you have compassion for the people that don't agree with you? Can you have compassion for yourself that you made a mistake? Okay, y'all made a mistake. Democrats made a mistake. Own up to the mistake and say you made a mistake and move on. Move on and figure out, how to have a happy day tomorrow because you guys have been miserable for years.
And let go. When you become attuned to your emotions and their accompanying physiological cues, you can spot when you need to take a break. By acknowledging your feelings that arise during that moment and saying positive affirmations, you can encourage compassion for yourself. Number 9, be grateful. Gratitude helps you gain perspective. Sometimes many problems are not as terrible as they seem.
And I tell people this all the time because a lot of people ask me this question still, how, what is it like being a single mother? And like, how did you get through the pandemic and you weren't working with all the discrimination and blah, blah, blah. And I always say this and it's just true. I mean, I don't know, a lot of you may or not believe in God, but I do believe that I had divine favor. I believe that, I was protected spiritually from any harm. And I really did believe that. I believed that I didn't need to suffer. And I just focused on what is going right. What is going right? Okay. So I would implore a lot of the liberals to just think about what is going right in their lives and what is going right with this administration. Like they closed the border. Um, more companies are going to come here and put their factories here. Instead of focusing on the negative things, you have to focus on the positive. That's how you elevate your frequency. I'm telling you, when you're annoying and when you're a nag and when you're stuck in the past and when you're obsessing over the future, you are an energy drain on yourself and those around you. The more positive you think, the more positivity you're going to exude, and the more positive people you're going to draw to you. Okay? It's that simple. If you want to have a better life and you want to have better people around you and you want to succeed in life, no matter who's in office, no matter what is happening in the world, you must do this or you will be a failure in life and you will be miserable in life and you're going to make the people around you miserable. And everywhere you go, you're going to repel good people. I'm just telling you.
Gratitude opens possibilities for acceptance as well as growth. It can also prevent you from falling into a pattern of negative thinking. And number 10, acknowledge your success. Picture this. You find yourself amid an overthinking barrage. So what do? During that avalanche, remember to take a moment to write down on a piece of paper 5 things that went well. For example, you cleaned your...
Now, I write a lot. I journal a lot. The more I feel troubled, the more I feel uncertain about things, the more I journal. And when I'm feeling everything is perfect, I don't really write as much, but it is true. Like you have to think about the things that are good. I really want you guys to make lists of like all of the things that you think are great about your life. You understand? All of the things that that you enjoy doing, all of the things that you would like to do that, and just think of these positive things. And if you have to, put it somewhere where you can see it every day and maybe read it to yourself every day, because I feel like when you wake up in a state of gratitude every day, things don't seem as bad, or you just don't care as much about certain things, and it doesn't pull your frequency down. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I always start out my day with, wow, I'm glad I woke up this morning. Oh, wow, I'm glad I have a place to live. There's people that don't have that. Oh, wow, I'm glad I have nice clothes to wear. And wow, I'm glad I have this car and it's almost paid for. And, you really have to start, keeping positive thoughts in your mind at all times. You might have to work on this, but just be mindful of it. You understand? Because it gets easier and it gets better. And you're going to see, as soon as you start doing this, your frequency elevates immediately. So if you want to have a better life and you want to feel happier and you want to have happy people around you, you have to be genuinely happy yourself. If you want to raise kids that are not punk ass kids that are afraid of everything, you also have to be like that. You understand? Because how are you going to teach them how to do it if you don't know how to do it? You know what I mean? Like being fearless is just not fearing anything, because fear is made up. It's not happening. I'm just trying to get you to see, really, it's so important to stay in the moment. The things you're worried about have not happened yet. Cross that bridge when it comes to it. I think about the future to a degree of like, okay, I know my car note's due on this day. I have to pay it or whatever. But I don't constantly look at my bills, and I think I look at my bills like 3 times a month. For the rest of the time, I'm enjoying my life. If I'm late on a bill, who cares? It doesn't depress me. It doesn't stress me out or whatever, because, I'm always so much in a state of gratitude of what I do have and what's going right.
Your apartment or stuck to your budget. The accomplishments on your list do not need to be grand, but looking at this list will make you realize that you've succeeded, even in the small things, more than you have.
Some of you need to make a vision board of what is important. Like my vision board has pictures of my son and just like dreams and goals I have for myself and just things that I feel like I want to do, pictures of things that bring me joy, stuff like that. Because if you're if you're a person that's afraid of a lot of things and you fear the worst all the time, you know what I mean? Like, you might need to visually see this every day. And I will really tell you to stop watching mainstream media, because that right there is going to always keep you in a constant state of fear.
Failed. When necessary, refer back to this list to keep your thoughts from spiraling out of control. When life gets hectic and overwhelming, it's important to take a step back and breathe. Take a break from the constant information and racing thoughts, and, if necessary, ask for help.
I always say mindless entertainment. Like, I like to ride my bike, but I also will watch, me and my son like to watch funny videos and stuff like that, just silly stuff to make us laugh and stuff. You gotta pull yourself out of it. I like to paint pictures, or me and my son do art projects. We cook, make cookies, whatever. You gotta get out that slump of like thinking about the past and, oh, boo-hoo, my life is like this now, and it was better before and everything, and oh, I miss my ex, and boo-hoo, and oh, Democrats are not in office anymore, I hate this president, wah, wah, wah. Who wants to hear that? Nobody wants to hear that. You're going to be by yourself all the time. Nobody's going to want to be around you like that. It's annoying. I'm telling you, I love y'all. I want to see everybody elevate their frequency, and you have to stop, because there's somebody that I'm around that does this, and it annoys me, and I have to just tell them, don't talk to me, leave me alone. Like, when somebody's in that energy, I remove myself from it. And if I can't remove myself from it, I will say, like, stop it. You know what I'm saying? Because it really is bad for morale, like, of all your co-workers, all your family, when you have somebody like that on board. I'm serious.
We hope we were able to give you some insight into some ways that you can stop overthinking. Do any of these describe your experiences?
The main way to stop overthinking is to stop overthinking. Stop overthinking it. Stop it. Just stop it. Because it's not that serious. You understand? Somebody said something like, one of the videos I was watching about this, the guy said something to the effect of, like, he'd rather die once than die 1,000 times because you're afraid. You understand? You're making up in your mind all these scenarios of something bad that's going to happen that just never happens. So you're constantly dying 1,000 deaths and nothing ever happened. So it's like, we all have to really work on this. I had to work on it. I used to be a shy person in my youth and stuff, and I just decided I don't want to be, and I just started talking to more people. And I tell people all the time, talking to people on social media is one thing, but it's another thing to actually get out and fellowship with people and talk to people. I tell everybody how I used to, I thought I would be a minister at one time, and then I fellowship with so many people, so many faiths, and I read so many scriptures to the point where I just decided that, they're all pretty similar, and I just want to get along with all the people. I like all of these religions for different parts of it, and different things resonate with me. And after a while, after studying it for so long, it all started to run together to me, honestly. You know what I mean? And I met a lot of good people like that. I got a lot of different points of view and stuff like that. And I'm a person, I like to talk to people. I'll talk to anybody. People know that of me. I'll have a discussion with anybody. I have a debate with anybody, as long as you're respectful. Because once you start getting ignorant and insulting me, I'm the queen of the insult. So you're not going to be too happy. So, So yeah, so let's watch this last video right here, because I thought this was fascinating, because these people are very fearless, and God bless these people, because I probably would never do this. But God bless the ones who do.
How do you overcome fear? The first thing you've got to realize is that most of the fear that you have isn't a reality. It's just built up in your head. So what you need to do.
So what is this guy saying? What's he, a Navy SEAL, saying? That fear is just shit you make up in your head that is not true and is not even really happening. You're imagining it, and just think of it as a form of mental illness, your fear.
To overcome your fear is to go and face it, go and look at it, go on the attack, move towards it. That's what you need to do if you're afraid of something. Don't hide from it. The more you hide from it, the bigger it gets, the scarier it gets. Don't allow that to happen.
That is so true. The more you fear something, the bigger the fear is going to get if you don't face it. So as soon as you fear something, you probably should, face it. I don't really like open heights, but I've done zip lining and I've done bungee and shit like that. Would I do any of those things again? Absolutely not. But I don't like to have fear, because God forbid if I have to be in a situation in an open height when the fear could really stop from saving my life or whatever, I would have experienced already. So I know what it's like to be on a balcony on a 90th floor. I know what it feels like to zip line through the jungle holding on with one hand. I know what it feels like to pull the cord or the bungee and stuff like that. So, just face your fears, because 9 times out of 10, nothing bad's going to happen. And then the more that you face your fears and you realize nothing bad is going to happen, you'll be able to do it with other things. I was a person that was very shy as a kid, and I was always afraid of public speaking. But one thing about me, I will jump into something. I will try to prepare myself and just do it. You know what I mean? What's the worst that's going to happen? You might fail, and you might keep telling yourself you're going to fail, but don't tell yourself that. Tell yourself, I can do this, And if I don't, I'm going to learn from it and I'll do better the next time. Like, you just have to have a more positive attitude.
Instead, confront it, face it, and get after it. I'll give you a really straightforward example. Jumping out of an airplane. When I was in the SEAL teams, that's something that we had to do.
Now that I've never done. I would do it. I would be scared to death. I don't really know if I could do that. I'm not sure. I don't know.
The first time you ever jump out of an airplane, it's a very unnatural thing to do. And if you have any sense of self-preservation, you're going to look at the open door of a moving aircraft that's at 1,200 feet above the ground, and you're going to think to yourself, this doesn't seem like a good idea. So it's a very unnatural feeling to think, oh, I'm going to look at that door. I'm 1,200 feet above the ground. I'm going 120 miles an hour in an airplane, and I'm supposed to step out this door and trust that this cord on my back is going to pull out this parachute. Occasionally, someone will freeze in the door. They will clamp onto the door and they don't want to go out. It's the classic situation where they hesitated for that moment, and that moment grows. And
that's how it was when we did the bungee. I could tell my boyfriend was like really scared because we were together. We were like strapped together in this thing. And I could tell he was really scared. So I said, I will pull the cord. And like the whole time we're going up, he's praying and he's like all scared and scared and scared. It took me like 2 hours to convince him to do it in the first place. So he does it. He's scared. He's scared. He's scared. So when he tells me to pull the cord, I just pulled it. I didn't think about it. And he's right. Because if you think about it, you're not going to do it. And I'm thinking as we're going up, there's only one way back down. There's only one way back down. And I just pulled the cord, and it actually was something fun. Once you realize you're not dead, it actually was a fun experience. I wouldn't do it again. I don't think I could pull it together to do it again, but I was glad I did do it.
Fears grow, and instead of doing what they're supposed to do, they end up being a no jumper and returning to the earth inside of the plane, which is not the way it's supposed to work. So what I learned to do is, look, put all that stuff aside. There's the door. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk towards that door. I'm going to step out of it, and I'm going to get some.
So, yeah. So, I mean, to me, that's one of the ultimate things. There was another video that I liked in here, but let me see something. Oh, yeah, this is it. I want to show y'all this one because there's a little story in here real quick that I loved it. Let me just show you this real quick. Every time I do these videos, I be swearing that I can do this in 20 minutes, and it takes like a whole entire hour. So listen to this guy for a second. And he tells a story in here that I thought was really good.
That your life will come to an end. Rather fear that it never had any beginning. All of us can attest to having experienced fear sometime or the other in our life. It could have been fear of the doctor's needle, or a difficult year-end exam, a critical job interview, or just fear of the uncertainty of the future, or phobias of heights, spiders, water, closed spaces, etc. A little bit of fear.
I hate all of those things, but I have put myself in situations where I've experienced it just to face the fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like to be that afraid of something now. I don't like rodents and animals like that. I don't like dogs and all that stuff, but I will go around dogs. You know what I mean? But like, I don't really like them, but I'll go around them. You know, my ex had a pit bull and I really didn't like the dog. You know, I don't really like dogs like that. But I will go around the dogs, you know, but you know, that's what I'm saying. You got to face your fear because, you know, like they say, those and all of the things I feared about the dog, nothing happened. So that's the point.
Is always good because it induces us to take protective action. The problem is when the same sentiment becomes irrational and disproportionate to the threat. An old Indian fable relates.
That is so true, because I do feel like a lot of liberal people, they are so like emotional and going crazy of these threats that their responses to it are so over the top because nothing has happened yet.
That a mouse came to reside in a sage's ashram. Now the mouse was scared of the cat which was already living there. Out of mercy upon it, the sage transformed it into a cat. Now it was scared of the dog in that monastery. The sage again took pity and blessed it to become a dog. However, its fear persisted because there were lions in the nearby woods. The sage finally, out of frustration, said, "You will never be cured because you have the heart of a mouse. Go and become a mouse again."
Now, how about that? I love that story because it's like some people are so afraid that they're just always going to be small. You're never going to reach no greatness. No matter what anybody does to help you, you know, succeed. If you're afraid, you're never going to be anything bigger than a mouse. You know what I mean? And I try to teach my son to be fearless. I thought this was such a great story to show how fear works in your life and how no matter what anybody does to help you grow, if you're always in a state of fear, you're going to always be the mouse.
What is this fear that paralyzes us from taking action and that hijacks our rational thinking?
There you go. The rational thinking. Where is it at? Why are these people always on TV yelling, crying, screaming? They're at a protest yelling, crying, screaming, and singing and it's not helping your situation at all. It's just making you look crazy because fear is really like a mental illness. It really is.
Let's first hear about it from the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna in 12.15 has said that my devotees who do...
And I have to say, I fellowship with Krishnas. I love them. Who else did I... Moonies, Buddhists, Christians, everybody throughout the course of my life, especially at one time, I fellowship with a lot of people. And like I said, over time, I just started realizing that, you know, things resonated from every scripture that I read. And it was like, you know, I got to pick just one. That's just how I felt about it.
Not fear are very dear to me. I'm reading from the commentary, Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God. The cause of fear and anxiety is attachment.
Now listen to this.
It makes us yearn for the subject of attachment and fear separation from it. The moment.
There you go. People are so attached to their life, they're afraid of death. You know what I mean? People are so attached to a way of life that if things change, it's like, you know, it's like a death to them. You know what I'm saying? like he's saying, people don't want to detach, people don't want to change, they don't want to, they're afraid of something new, something different, and they're afraid to move forward, like they're afraid of every little step, just like the mouse, and these people, just like Harriet Tubman said about this when they would be escaping and you had some scared ass slave, you had to shoot him because he's going to get everybody messed up, so fear is not a good thing. It stops you from being free, basically.
And we become detached from material objects. We become fearless. The devotees are not only free from attachment, they are also in harmony with
one of the favorite quotes that Buddha said is like, he who has many loves has many wolves. And that's the truth, because if you love something too much, it's going to cause you a lot of pain if you were to lose it. You understand? And you have to think of life in that way, that things change, people come and people go and stuff like that. You just have to, and that's another reason why you really have to enjoy the moments, because the next moment is not promised to you. And when you're with the people you love, do you really want to spend your time talking about how messed up Donald Trump is, or talk about how messed up the world is, or you want to focus more on the goodness of your life and the joys of your life? That's what I want you guys to come out of this with. So like I said, I feel like talking about fear has been the main thing that I've ever talked about on here, because I feel like it's the real thing, it's the main thing that really gets in people's way of enjoying their lives, enjoying their families, and elevating their frequency. And we've all been around people that are just a drag to be with, but that's because they're either living in the past, which causes them to have a depressed spirit, which is a heavy vibration, or an anxious spirit, which is a heavy vibration, but they never find that balance of just being joyful in the moment that they're in. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you. And like I said, don't be afraid. Like, I just don't know how to express this enough. Like, I feel like sometimes I have concern for things, but I'm not really afraid. One, because of my faith. Like I said, depending on what you believe, I just do believe that I have divine protection. I do believe that my ancestors watch out and protect me. I do believe in God, and I do believe the spirit of God is in me, and I do believe that there's certain spiritual powers and higher senses that we can use to have discernment and things like that. So that's why I don't really feel so afraid, you know what I'm saying? Unless it's in the moment when the fear is there. You understand? You know what I mean? If a dog ran up on me, I would be afraid and be in fear in that moment, and my body's going to react in that way. But if you're in a constant state of fear and nothing is happening, you're keeping your body in a messed up low vibration. So that means I'm supposed to stop talking. So I appreciate you guys sitting through this with me. And I had so many other things I wanted to talk about, but it always comes back to the same thing. So I'm really starting to believe that fear is the main problem which society is having. Fear is the main problem why your life is not going the way it is. Fear is the main problem why you're not happy. Fear is the same reason, is the reason why your spouse ain't happy and you're not happy and your kids aren't doing right, and maybe they're depressed because they're worried too much about the past, or they're anxious because they're worried too much about the future. It's like, I just want everybody to start learning how to be in a state of balance, and that is living in the moment. Living in the moment. You're fine in this moment. Okay, you guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I am Shelly B. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a great evening. I was really tired today. I've been up early for the last 2 days, so I don't know if it was apparent, but I am. So I'm going to go get some rest now. Thank you, Sikander. I really appreciate you all the time being with me. I really do. Thanks so much. You have a wonderful weekend. I guess I'll see y'all sometime this weekend, because I had other stuff I wanted to talk about, but this just seemed more important to me, because I really do want to see my people elevate their frequency. And I feel like if humanity, and I say this all the time, if humanity could be on one frequency of love together, at the same time, it could override any demonic entities and evil and all of that stuff and forever. You understand? But that's the reason why they keep everybody divided, because they know if everybody got on one frequency together, we would rise above them. And, you know, so it is what it is. But you guys have to really keep that in mind also. So I am Shelly B. I'm going now. Have a nice evening. Thanks for sitting with me. I love you and God bless you and have a lovely evening. Good night.